If you're looking for an SUV with style and substance, check out the award-winning lineup from Chevrolet. With the fun-to-drive Trax, the versatile Equinox, and more, there's a Chevy SUV with the comfort and capability you're looking for. Available now at your Southern Nevada Chevy dealer.
Businesses are having to shift strategies to keep meeting the needs of everyone they serve, customers, employees, and citizens. With IBM Watson, you can infuse AI into existing workflows to predict future outcomes, automate decisions and processes, and optimize employees' time for higher value work. For more information on IBM Watson, visit www.ibm.com/Watson.
All right, what's up? Live video, little live stream action, and we will see what we see tonight, folks. I'm having some issues, boy, let me tell you. My tripod decided it wanted to just break. Still haven't got the repair done on my other phone yet. You know, typical, procrastinate. So thankfully I have another backup phone, which is what I'm using right now to record the show for the podcast. So that's a good thing at least. Eventually I'm going to get that other screen fixed, I think, but those Galaxy screens are out of control expensive to get done. So, yeah, no, they're pretty expensive. They're like a couple $100 for those silly ass screens. So I'll probably just buy another phone instead of worrying about buying a new screen or making a new screen or whatever. Rob, what's up, dude? How you doing, buddy? Alright, let me get situated here, folks. So I'm guessing this video is coming in goofy. Hang on one second. Alright, there we go. That should get us squared away there, folks. Alright. So obviously the start of the video was like a bit of a mushroom trip. I was just making sure you guys were all... Yeah, exactly, Elizabeth. Something like that. I'm just gonna grab just an extra phone so I have it to do stuff like this with, you know? Makes it a lot easier. Alright, what's up? I got some answers, hopefully. Let's get some questions. Hey everybody, thank you guys for joining the live stream. It's like a family reunion every Sunday nowadays, huh? Okay, Elizabeth, shoot. I am ready to answer your questions. Hopefully I have an answer for you. You know, I have to hit Walmart anyway because tomorrow I'm going to be out in the snow. So I'll check Walmart when I go buy some new gloves tomorrow morning and maybe grab one of those phones that you're talking about. Because it just makes things a lot easier to have a backup phone, right? Especially considering the asinine prices they want to fix a silly-ass screen. You know, I'm not a big fan of Apple products, but at least the screens are cheap as hell to fix. These screens are ridiculous. You know, Elizabeth, I don't really know Sean per se. I don't really watch too much of his work. I'll watch some videos if they're recommended to me by Maria or somebody else, but I am not too sure what his beliefs are as far as like Q or anything like that goes. Yeah, the Penguins don't believe him. We know that. The Penguins don't believe him down in Antarctica. The polar bears certainly don't believe him. Nobody believes him. So, definitely, nobody's believing that clown of a moron. And if I was Prince Charles, I'd probably send this dude to Antarctica, honestly. Send this dude to McMurdo as far away from me as possible. Can you imagine becoming the king and this idiot weighing you down? Just what you need. As if you aren't enough of a scumbag yourself. Oh, Elizabeth, no, you know what? I had no idea. I mean, personally, I would never, ever, 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 ever live stream a federally held hearing, just because I'm not prepared to go to prison over something like that, especially when it's access for everybody. Everyone can just access it whenever they want. Nice, Anthony. I'll have to check it out. I'll give it a run. Yeah, Elizabeth, I'm not too sure what kind of crossover audience he has. I'm not sure if people who are into Q cross over and listen to Sean as well. I'm not too positive how any of that breaks down as far as demographics. So I'm not too sure, but it is easy for people to pin everything on so-called Q followers these days, right? And remember, just to kind of digress off of topic real quick, remember when I was talking about censorship and how I said it would come for the people on the left as well? Well, like 9,000 Antifa accounts have been purged now as well. So it's just beginning. Anyone who is not in line is in danger. Hey, thanks, Anthony, for sure. I'll definitely check it out, buddy. I appreciate that. I'm always looking for some content when I'm in the mountains and stuff like that if I don't have a good book to read. No, Bill Barr is gone, Victoria. He stepped down, I think it was like the day after Christmas or something like that. Oh, yeah, Lucy in Vegas it's bad here, man. Like, I was walking around like a zombie, not really paying attention to what's going on in my own city for a very long time, caught up in my own BS. But it's an eye-opening experience when you read something like that. And honestly, I could 100% see it being that big of a problem because I see the serious issues out on the street here. It's really bad. Uh, Barr's role is being taken by Merrick Garland, who was going to be one of the Supreme Justices under Obama, but his nomination was held up in the Senate because it was a so-called lame duck year. So Merrick Garland, graduated from Harvard, by the way, will be the Attorney General if everything goes how they want it to go as far as the Biden team. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, I'm not, the people that want to argue it is legal, it is not legal, that's cool for them, that if that's the route they want to go and deal with the federal government. Me, I've had a taste of that in my own life before, and I'm cool on any of that nonsense, so I'm not giving them any reason to bother me. Especially when it's a public video that anyone can access anyway. It isn't like, we have some kind of secret code where we can only hear it, you know what I'm saying? I just don't think I think it's kind of ridiculous. Yeah, Facebook is, as you well know, Candace, Facebook is notorious for their censorship. They love to play games. They definitely throttle the page for the show. And that's why I don't even bother with the social media aspect of this stuff too much. I'm not in it for any of that, right? I'm not here to farm likes. I don't care. So I don't let it get to me the way other people let it get to them. People get fired up over this shit about being shadow banned or banned or. It is what it is, in my opinion. There's nothing I can do about it. I can't change it. You can't even get somebody on the phone at one of these places. So I'm not going to waste my time worrying about stuff like that. I'm just going to continue to pump out content. And if it's good and it resonates with people, people will listen. If it's shitty and people don't like it, nobody will listen. So They could roll on with their bitch-ass censorship all they want, but it doesn't affect me one way or the other. I love it. Look, the more legit journalists and credible journalists are talking about this case, the better off it is, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? And if somebody like Mr. Sweeney is going to, go hard in the paint and bring this case to the people, I love it. It's, I think it's a good thing when there are people in the legacy media, so-called legacy media, who actually care enough about this case to put time and effort into producing a product. And I don't think there's enough of that. So I think that's pretty cool. Oh yeah, Candace, for sure. That kind of stuff freaks me out. I'm not a fan of that kind of that kind of sweeping picking up of surveillance. It's not good. It is not good at all. I think that it's very dangerous for society in general. And of course, when it's being used to pursue somebody like Ghislaine Maxwell, you want to say to yourself, all right, this is good legislation, I love this. But until it's turned on people you love or average everyday citizens, then it's not so great anymore, is it? Thank you, Elizabeth, for sure. I'll definitely check the link out, and I will definitely check the one out that was posted by Anthony as well. I try not to dig too deep into other podcasts like I talk about here all the time because I spend so much time on my own that it's just, with such heavy content, I don't want to just be completely immersed in stuff like this. So when I'm listening to podcasts, I usually listen to podcasts that have a variety of topics that are discussed, kind of like, the Joe Rogan show or Lex Friedman, stuff like that. Those are the kind of podcasts I usually listen to when I'm just, tooling around up in the mountains or camping or, whatever. Oh, and by the way, if you're out there, Celsius, I'm banging back one of your drinks again. We'll take a sponsorship, and I'll take pay in drinks, by the way. Yeah, Anthony, definitely. Look, I'm going to start doing some more guests on the podcast. Um, I'm going to shoot for maybe Saturdays, the way we're dedicating Sundays now to the live stream. I'm thinking about maybe having Saturdays dedicated to having live guests. So that's certainly something that's in the works, and I will reach out. I'm the kind of person, as you guys should know by now, that I want to hear from all kinds of voices from all different sides. I don't live in an echo chamber. I have friends from all walks of life, listeners to the show who are communist or straight, constitutional conservative. So, I'm willing to listen to everybody and talk with everybody, and I think that's the only way that we can ever really learn about anything, right? If we listen to everybody yeah, Lex is an incredibly intelligent dude. Very, very thoughtful guy, very enjoyable to listen to, and his content is always great. I love shows like that, variety shows where you have, different guests on, people where you can learn something. And I can't tell you how many things I have learned on podcasts like that I would have never paid attention to ever. I would have never had any interest in the topic, but I heard him on a podcast, a guest on a podcast, and I had to find out more. So I would dig in. It's just, so I love that kind of stuff, man. And Elizabeth, usually I'm in Red Rock Canyon, which is the Spring Mountains for the most part. It is about 45 minutes west of Las Vegas, and it's tucked away. It's really just a beautiful, serene kind of place. It's about 13 miles long, the whole entire canyon, and that's where I spend the majority of my time while I'm in the mountains. But I get out to Zion quite a bit usually. I get up to Yosemite a few times, stuff like that. Maria is doing well. She's just the social media stuff's it's a lot for people to deal with when people are vile and cruel, you know what I'm saying? It's like the same kids that were like O'Doyle rules in school are still running around and acting like that on the internet. And even more so now, because they know they can get away with it on the internet, right? Because in real life, big mouths lead to black eyes. On the internet, you could hide behind your computer. Yeah, definitely, Candace. I'm making a list, right, of guests I would love to have on the show. And obviously, I'm sure not all of them would want to come on. But once I pivot away, once this case ends and we can pivot away to something, more, something with more variety, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Once we can pivot towards that, I'll be able to have more people on with a more varied worldview, and we could talk about different topics and all of that stuff. I try to stay on point here on the podcast because I don't want people to, your time is important to me. I don't want you to waste your time with topics you're not interested in. And that's why I've been trying to keep my monologues about things that aren't, show related to a minimum. Every now and then I can't help it, and I have to, wax poetic about my silly gambling or whatever, but for the most part, I try to keep the show on topic. And once the trial ends, once Ghislaine Maxwell's trial ends, I won't be covering the case every single day the way I do anymore, probably. It'll probably be more of a 2 or 3 times a week, maybe 2 times a week, and moving towards more of a world news, variety, something like that kind of discussion. Because I think that there's a lot to get to that all tie into this case even, right? A lot of the money laundering, the corruption. I want to dig into a lot of that stuff because I feel like it affects everybody's life. And we don't get enough of that from the legacy media. So I think it's really important that there is a forum where that's being discussed. You have the ICIJ who's doing a fantastic job, but they're not getting the publicity they should be getting for that coverage. L Brands made a little bit of a bounce back, to be honest with you, after Sycamore didn't buy them because of the pandemic. They've been doing some online sales. Obviously, they haven't had the overhead because they've closed a lot of brick and mortar stores. So once they close the brick and mortar stores, it looks a lot better on their, end of year report, obviously, because they're not paying all of that overhead anymore and they're just shipping things out from a factory or whatever. So they're doing a little bit better. I believe it was like 4% that they were up as far as their stock. But it's only a matter of time before that levels out as well and before they're bargain bin at Walmart. And as far as the rest, look, I wish I had a crystal ball and I could give you an exact time frame, Victoria. I think what they're doing is still building their case, and I think they want to make sure that it's rock solid when they drop these indictments on them. And again, it might have to do with the NDA ruling as well, because if the NDA gets thrown out, that is just like a bunch of tinder on the fire for SDNY. They could probably combine both of those cases and make it even more grim for those involved. So I guess a lot of it just depends and hinges on what occurs moving forward. So we just have to stay fluid and we have to, bounce with the punches, right? Like Muhammad Ali, do the rope-a-dope every now and then, I guess. But I think that as we move forward, we're certainly going to see more indictments. It certainly looks like the pilot is cooperating with the authorities. If you read between the lines of what he was saying in that interview, it certainly reads to me that he is cooperating with the authorities. Now, who is he talking about? I don't know. What is he providing? I have no idea. But I would guess that it is pretty important information considering his proximity to Jeffrey Epstein and the criminal enterprise and all of the other things that were occurring. Somebody like that is a big-time witness and the kind of person that the prosecution loves to turn and put up against the screws, right? Because if you're looking at 100 years, what do you care about Ghislaine Maxwell at that point? you're going to just spill the beans. You're going to talk about whatever you know. And I think that's probably the point that we're at for a lot of these co-conspirators right now. Now, again, I don't know if it goes does it go further up than Ghislaine Maxwell? I don't know. Do they have stuff on Trump? Maybe. Do they have stuff on Clinton? Quite possibly. But I think that things are definitely heating up. That's for sure. Yeah, well, they can charge them right away, Rob, right? And then it's up to the court and the judge who gets the case when the trial will be. Usually a case like this is built over time. But this is one of those cases that, like we talk about, how it's been being built for decades. So I'm not really sure what the particulars are there as far as the legalese and how that would work, what the parameters are. But I'm pretty sure that they could just charge them right away because it is not, they've never been charged, right, with those crimes. They got the NDA, but they were never charged, so it wouldn't be double jeopardy because they were just named as co-conspirators, but no charges were brought against them. So they could automatically reignite those charges and get access to all of that casework that was done previously. That would be my guess how that breaks. But it's bad. It's real bad for them if the NDA is tossed because it is a real shield for these co-conspirators right now. People, especially like Sarah Kellen Vickers and unnamed co-conspirators. Yep, exactly. No longer immune. Exactly right. But I don't know when that ruling's going to be. I haven't heard anything one way or the other, right? But I hope that when the ruling comes, the 11th Circuit Court sees this for what it is, the incredible injustice that it is, and they make it right, because that's well within their power at this point.
Amigo pintor, se acerca la venta Blue Bucket de Sherwin-Williams. No te la pierdas y prepárate para la temporada de pintura. Del 15 al 19 de marzo, los pros ahorran 35% en suministros selectos, incluyendo productos Purdy. Aprovecha las ofertas en cintas, brochas, rociadores y mucho más. Haz tu pedido por teléfono, en línea o ven a tu tienda Sherwin-Williams. Y recuerda, cualquiera pinta, pero solo algunos son bien pro. Aplican exclusiones. Llama a tu tienda para más detalles.
Call 1-888-FARMERS to switch, and you could save an average of $470 on your auto insurance. That's a lot of money in just a few minutes. With savings like that, you could be lounging on an impractical amount of ornate and overpriced throw pillows you bought for your couch. But you won't, because you're better with money than that. That's why you're calling us in the first place. Call 1-888-FARMERS to get a quote today.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Based on average nationwide annual savings survey data July to December 2020. Underwritten by Farmers Trucker Fire Insurance Exchanges or affiliate. Products not available in every state.
The question just becomes, do they have the backbone to do so? Yeah, she's a reprehensible human being, isn't she? I mean, imagine having her as your neighbor. That's my kind of luck. That's the kind of shit that happens to me. I hit mega bucks. I end up winning, $25 million. I move into a $10 million townhouse, and Vickers and her asshole husband are my neighbors. That is my kind of luck, folks. The cloud that follows people? Yeah, that's me. But I mean, imagine spending that kind of money and having these people as your neighbors. Who needs that in their lives? Yeah, hey, look, here's the whole gist of it at this point, in my opinion, Rob. It's time to put up or shut up. We heard for years about the brutes who were in charge, and I'm not disagreeing. We all know how hard in the paint I went on Barr. Certainly not a fan of Trump. Certainly not a fan of Mnuchin. Or certainly not a fan of Jared Kushner. But at the same time, I would expect there to be as much pressure exerted by the same people who were exerting the pressure previously. Let's get some consistency here, because that's the only way that this case is going to be prosecuted to its fullest extent. And I really hope that no sort of political nonsense gets dragged into it. But we'll see, right? I have a good feeling that when all is said and done, the people who were directly responsible for the abuse and for facilitating that abuse, I believe that those people will all be prosecuted. Now, above them, I'm not sure. Like the Wexners of the world, unfortunately, I'm not sure. The Dubins of the world, it depends. Yeah, he was in the Coast Guard at one point. I'm not too sure what sort of violence old boy is capable of. Certainly looks like the kind of dude that has never taken a leg kick in his life. But he was in the Coast Guard. And you know how these people are. They're unhinged with all of their threats of violence. And one thing I have learned in my life, the people that are threatening violence, the people that talk the biggest game are usually the biggest clowns and the biggest chumps. You know, I'm not too sure about Brunel getting extradited. France is really goofy about that kind of stuff. So I'm not too sure about that. And Nygaard, that's quite possible. He might get extradited to America. Especially now that Biden is president. The relationship, I'm sure, is going to warm up with Trudeau and Biden. And that's certainly something that might happen. I'm not positive, but I could see that happening a lot quicker or with more certainty than Jean-Luc Brunel, just because of France and their very strict non-extradition policies. That's true, Elizabeth. At least she was, hiding in her hole like the scoundrel she is. But the proximity to the border always gave me pause. I always thought that she was up there for a reason, And being so close to Canada, she could have boogied whenever she wanted. Hey, Candace, that's smart. You got to be careful, right? Don't be foolish. There's a lot of people who are foolish. The not me mentality. Oh, I can do this because it'll never happen to me. Yeah? Until your dumbass has it happen to you. So always be careful, especially when it comes to people like this. I would never suggest anybody doing any sleuthing or exploring on any of these properties, for sure. Especially, trespassing-wise, you know how I feel about that kind of stuff. Everyone's safety is way more important than getting a look around, in my opinion. So when it comes to stuff like that, I think that discretion is the better part of valor, and I think that you did the right thing by not, creeping around, because you don't know who has a gun, right? Or what sort of lunatic they have hired. Hey, Lucian, nothing is common anymore, my dude. The way everything's going on, everything's upside down, inside out. I swear to God, when they turned on the Hadron Collider, they knocked us into a different universe or dimension, and we just haven't figured that shit out yet. I mean, how else do we have a reality star as the President of the United States of America? Shit don't make no sense to me. I ain't got no answers, and I certainly don't have any answers for why Trump would do anything. The guy's he's such a narcissist that I can't even put into words how much of a narcissist he is. But to be honest with you, I wouldn't have went to that inauguration if I was him either. After all of the butting of heads and the fighting, why the hell should he go? I wouldn't have went. I would have done whatever the hell he did as well. Go to my golf club or whatever. Victoria, I don't think that Q has the power, or whoever Q is, or whatever entity it is, to turn this case into anything, because the facts play out, right? The facts, when you lay the facts out in this case, this isn't some wild goose chase. This isn't something happening in real time. This is something that we have had decades to research, and court documents, actual caseload, actual court trials. So this is obviously a cover-up. So what I think will happen with the Q folks is they definitely tried to muddy the waters, right, for whatever benefit that they thought that they could get out of it. And I had a couple of people who I know in real life who believed in the Q stuff, and I had to have a couple of conversations with them, a few heart-to-hearts. Only when they brought up the Epstein stuff, though, because it's not my place to jump in and tell somebody they're wrong or they're right. I don't do that. It's just not how I roll. I don't find that to be a good look, really, you know? Now, if somebody is a friend of mine in real life and I think they're doing something dangerous, of course, I'll speak up. But I think that the Q people were just, for the most part, a lot of people who were chasing confirmation bias and got caught up in a bunch of grifter snake oil salesman type shit. And I have a little bit of empathy for it. You know, I got caught up I got gaslit bad by the George Bush administration after 9/11. It was the first time I had ever voted. You know, I had no idea about politics. All I know is I watched those buildings fall down and I was pissed. I wanted somebody to pay. And I had no idea what that really meant at the time. But I was gaslit, right? And they used my patriotism and my emotions against me to have me carry water for them and act as a surrogate in the battle of opinions. And I did all of that because I was chasing my own confirmation bias. And I see the same thing and the same trap for the people with QAnon as well. So it's just a very unfortunate situation. And it's unfortunate that the media is so untrustworthy that people were looking for any sort of life preserver in the ocean. And they found these, you know, like I was saying, snake oil salesmen who played on their fears and their emotions to the tune of thousands and thousands of dollars a month. It's a joke. It's embarrassing. And I don't know how people can look at themselves in the mirror when they do that, when you lead people astray. You know, it's one thing to make a mistake. We're all human. We all make mistakes. We're not perfect, right? But to knowingly lead people astray, that is some straight bullshit and some of the dirtiest type of stuff you could possibly do. Oh, you're 100% right. Look, there's the good and the bad of the media, of social media, right? We're all connected. Without this, we wouldn't have that. But what it does is it really elevates the arguments between people. Before it was, you might have a political argument at work over the water cooler with some of your coworkers, a little heated discussion. But that would be the end of it. You wouldn't go home and log on to a computer and continue the argument with your coworkers, your relatives, and now it's just like we're so polarized because it's always, you know, right there and everyone's always engaging in it. Yeah, Anthony, you know, I have something in the pipeline right now with the Maxwells. I'm going through some stuff, and I try to be a little bit thorough, right? When I vet things, I try to make it so that it is not fantasist type shit or LARPing. So I got some stuff in the pipeline right now with the Maxwell family, and it'll definitely be coming down the pipe soon. I won't say exactly when because I don't want to give myself a deadline, but it's on its way. I will say that. Chad, who has been following the show and supporting the show like literally since day one, has been hounding me about some shit like that. So I've been doing research, I've been compiling notes and looking for the proper articles to really dig in the right way. So I might do like a hybrid episode where we use an article to establish context, and then I will blow off from that article and will go through the different tentacles of the octopus, so to say, and, you know, hammer it all out. But it's coming. I don't know exactly when, but it is definitely in the pipeline, my dude. 100%. I think it'll be a good addition to the show, right? It'll add context and another piece to the puzzle. We can't solve this puzzle unless we have all of the pieces. So, like I said, this show will be continuing to pump out content every single day up until the Maxwell trial is ended. And then after the Maxwell trial has ended, we will be branching off and we'll hammer other stuff out. But until then, I'm pretty much solely focused on what's going on here. I really don't have other focuses professionally right now, just following this case and, you know, keeping things moving and grinding. Oh, 100%, Victoria. Those kind of people are some of the most dangerous people in the world. That kind of money, that kind of power, that kind of reach, and you own a newspaper, forget about it. Oh, yeah, Kim, this is all because of Carrie. All this gray. This is what she has done to me in the 6 years. I think, Lucian, that when it comes to Ghislaine Maxwell, she had all the secrets and the keys to Jeffrey Epstein, but Jeffrey Epstein ultimately was the key holder to the next level. You know what I'm saying? Like, Ghislaine Maxwell had some information and she knew what was going on, but I believe that Epstein was the ultimate keeper of the actual documents, the pictures, the video, all of that stuff. You know what, Kim? I'm sure Carrie loves you too, but maybe not so much tonight after the beatdown Kansas City put on the Bills. Usually she doesn't stop talking, but she's upstairs right now, stewing, I think. Probably up there wanting to strangle me right now for even talking about the Bills. But that's how this gray got there, if you're wondering. I used to have a nice full black beard. I look like Voltan from Flash Gordon with this beautiful black I had going on. Now, yeah, it looks like I'm going like bald over here or something, some kind of like scurvy disease or some shit because of the gray. Whatever though. It'll be a cold day in hell before I use some Just for Men or anything like that on my face. I could care. I have zero chance that's ever happening. Maybe I'll use some of the old hairspray though. You know, like the old Italians used to use, Kim, that they'd spray on their hair, and then when they would sweat, it would leak down, sort of like Giuliani did during that press conference. Maybe I should use some of that and just spray it on my beard though. Carry it in my pocket and shit so it stays black. Yeah, I don't know what to say. I like to spend a lot of time in the mountains. Oh no, Epstein and Maxwell were definitely tight. They definitely ran in the same circles, and the Les Wexner connection and some of the other power players that roll in that circle were obviously the vehicles, right? They were the ones that made those introductions. And when it comes to the hidden money, very possible. We all know that Epstein was a bag man for sure. So it's definitely possible. You know how I feel. I won't say for sure one way or the other because I don't have the evidence of that. And I'm not going to dog walk you guys. I think there's too many people doing that shit when it comes to this story and everything else, honestly. But in my opinion, I think that it's quite possible that Jeffrey Epstein was involved in stashing that money in some aspect, some way, some of that money at the very least. Why else would somebody like Les Wexner give him the keys to the castle? Or Leon Black? Or what's her name from the Johnson family? You mean to tell me they need Epstein to manage their money? Some two-bit jackass from Coney Island or wherever the hell the idiot's from? I mean, come on, give me a break. It's so ludicrous that was the narrative that they thought people were going to buy. I mean, it doesn't stand up. It just does not stand up to the sniff test. And when you got a nose like mine, boy, let me tell you, you know all about the sniff test. And it doesn't stand up. Oh yeah, Story Cows? 100%, Candace. He's definitely a big player in this whole entire ordeal. Just another player on this stage. There are so many threads. And that's why I think it's important that people like Jen and Lisa are involved in this too. Because I'm only one person, right? I can only, juggle so many balls at once, and I try and do my best to make sure we talk about everybody. And that's why we do the show every day. But sometimes things slip through the cracks, and it's always nice for somebody else to slide in and pick up that slack, I would say that the core four all go down. I would say that Ghislaine Maxwell goes down. I would say that Indike and Khan both get the hammer. And I would think that Jean-Luc Brunel. And I would think that all of those people for sure get hemmed up in this. And the rest of the people, look, we all know Joe Exotic of the Windsor family should go to prison. We all know that. Is it going to happen? I don't think so. Maybe if the queen steps down and old boy becomes king because he doesn't like his brother. Maybe he serves him up. And he's like, hey, look, nobody look at the weird shit I'm doing on the side. Here's my brother. He's a sicko. You know, like a sacrifice. Who knows? But all of those people I just named, they have to. Alan Dershowitz, too, it's very possible. But he's a smarmy, slippery dude, right? Remember, somebody like him can navigate the legal system like Wayne Gretzky can navigate the ice playing hockey. He's slippery. So you really got to hammer him and have something hard evidence on him, like somebody to rat, someone to roll over. I would think that the court, Candace, would probably take over the estate. Remember, Boris Nikolic was also named as one of the executors, but he didn't accept the job. So I doubt he would get back involved, but I would guess that the court would probably take it over. Oh, there's no doubt. Look, when you have a guy as a lawyer who is negotiating a non-disclosure agreement, a non-prosecution agreement, and it's for participants named and unnamed, come on, really? Especially after he is alleged to be involved? Come on now. The poor people of the UK can't even leave their houses right now, Rob, unfortunately. There's some serious lockdowns going down over in the UK. I would hope that after all of this blows over and where, you know, people have vaccinations and there's some sort of immunity that has been achieved, I would hope that something like that does occur, though. And I'd be down to even fly across the pond and take part. If somebody put that together, I'd love to fly over to London and take part in something like that. I'd be down 100%. You know, Lucian, if the non-prosecution agreement gets thrown out, the people who weren't named obviously will remain unnamed because they weren't named. But the named co-conspirators we already know, and that was members of the Core Four. So the case would still have to be made against Mr. Underpants himself. And how they go about making that case, look, it'll be very difficult. Very, 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 very difficult. Money, I think that the money laundering aspect could be a tie that binds. How much money did Dershowitz get from Epstein? Was it all reported? Did it come from any of the Southern Trust? Did it come from a shell company? Where did it originate? So with all of that stuff and the financial portion, you might be able to still wrap some of these people up. And that's why I've been so locked in when we talk about, you know, the FinCEN files and money laundering. Because let's remember, they got Al Capone on taxes, right? Sometimes they don't get you on what they're looking to get you on, but still, if you go to prison, you go to prison. That's the end game. You know, Candace, I'm not too sure exactly how long it's supposed to take. I've never really followed anything like this before. Usually the cases that I follow are pretty closed and shut. You know, mafia cases, large-scale criminal conspiracy cases, stuff like that. But I would think with the pandemic and all of the other crazy wild shit going on in the court system that they got to be backed up, right? The docket has to be clogged. So I'm not sure exactly when they're going to get to it, but I would think soon. It's been over a month. So I would think that we should have some sort of resolution one way or the other. I mean, soon. Next few weeks, maybe?
Amigo pintor, se acerca la venta Blue Bucket de Sherwin-Williams. No te la pierdas y prepárate para la temporada de pintura. Del 15 al 19 de marzo, los pros ahorran 35% en suministros selectos, incluyendo productos Purdy. Aprovecha las ofertas en cintas, brochas, rociadores y mucho más. Haz tu pedido por teléfono, en línea o ven a tu tienda Sherwin-Williams. Y recuerda, cualquiera pinta, pero solo algunos son bien pro. Aplican exclusiones. Llama a tu tienda para más detalles.
There once was a dad who set out on a great quest to find the perfect Coke flavors at his family's request. So he went into a local store and grabbed the Coke Cherry Vanilla, Coke Cherry, and more. At dinner, they sipped Coke flavors and rejoiced, for everyone made their own delicious choice.
Coca-Cola flavors. Unbelievably delicious.
With so many delicious Coca-Cola flavors and Coca-Cola Zero Sugar flavors options to choose from, you'll have to taste them all.
Yeah, they might have been compiling more information, Rob. You know, with having their clerks compile more information on the case, tracking down documents. I don't know. I really don't know what goes on behind the scenes in an appellate courtroom or a regular courtroom for that matter. I think that the documents will be more context, more receipts. I don't know if there will be bombshells in those documents, like I've stated earlier. It seems like these documents are just a reference point for people who are following the case, or for different outlets who might not have been following the case to give them a little bit of salacious headline material. But as far as Clinton and Maxwell, I'm pretty sure that they were having some sort of affair. Again, I can't prove that, right? It's not what I know, it's what I can prove. But in my opinion, I think that she was his gumad. I think that he was certainly having an affair with her. And I think that Maxwell, obviously, is another person who was power hungry. And who's more powerful than Slick Willie? Let's be real. Bill Clinton was a political animal. He had so much political capital that it wasn't funny. And you still see that to this day. He survived all kinds of crazy shit, folks. This dude has been through the ringer, and somehow he's still getting invited to the DNC to talk and preach from his ivory tower. Talk about political capital. Oh, there was rumors that, how can I say this without sounding like a brute, that there was perhaps some sort of fellatio performed on Mr. Clooney. That's what the rumor is. Very possible. I wouldn't doubt it. What, Ghislaine Maxwell is above being somebody that, you know, sleeps around? Especially if it's a means to an end. I mean, I would expect all of them. Certainly, I would expect if she had a chance to hook up with someone like George Clooney to certainly do it. Why not, right? What does she have to lose? Old Serpentino herself. Yeah, no, I get it. You know, at the end of the day, Anthony, when it comes to these people, I try, you know, not to take them at face value, right? Because they are a bunch of braggarts. But there is, look, every good lie has some truth sprinkled in, right? I don't know, Candace. I'm pretty sure that they've had to comply already with turning over documents. Oh, that's pretty funny about George Clooney. He's looking rough in that new movie he's in, though. He's showing his age. Have you seen the new movie on Netflix about like the end of the world or whatever, where the little girl gets left? We checked out like the first 45 minutes of it. I wasn't really into it, which is weird because I love those kind of movies for the most part. But Clooney looked like he was about 300 years old. I'm talking all sorts of problems going on. Leatherface looking MF. I was shocked. Usually the guy's all, you know, looking pretty damn good. Clooney's a great actor, though. I'll tell you what, the Perfect Storm movie is one of my all-time favorite survival flicks. What a cool movie, man. Yeah, I'm going to the mountains tomorrow for sure. It's going to be a snowy day up in the mountains. I'm pumped. Hey, Patty, what's up? Yeah, it's insane, right? These people are crazy. These people are all insane, and the two-tier justice system is a huge-ass problem. I mean, a huge problem. So I'm glad that if that's something that you might not have been focused on coming into the podcast, but now you're like, oh shit, okay, yeah, there is something going on. And all you have to do is read the news, right? Just check out how it stacks up, how the justice system stacks up. And me, I've seen it in motion. I've watched it happen with my friends. You know, I've had a friend killed by the cops. You know, I've had friends that have done 15 years. I've had friends that have done 10 years. And yeah, so I've seen it up close how the two-tier justice system works, and it is not good. And anyone who is championing it is an enemy of the people, in my opinion. Which one, Tarnia? The one with George Clooney? Yeah, it wasn't that good. I mean, for the 45 minutes I watched, I just wasn't into it. Very weird. Like, I'm usually into those kind of movies. Even if they're bad, the graphics suck, whatever. But I just was not into that movie at all. Yeah, Candace, she's building a Seco case right now as we speak. And it's going to be pretty ruthless for them. Oh, yeah, The Perfect Storm is so good. Like, I'm terrified to be out in the middle of the ocean, like open water. Zero chance I'm ever going out in the middle of the water like that. Sorry, no way. Goes back to that whole thing we were talking about last week, you know, being eaten by something. There are way too many things in the ocean that would make a meal of me and my beard. So we're not going in the ocean in the middle of the water. Yeah, unfortunately, Rob, people don't want to get out of their comfort zone. It's much easier for people to think that this shit isn't real, right? Much easier for people just to be like, oh, you're obviously a conspiracy theorist. That never happened. Because think about how you felt when you found out that this shit was actually real. I know I was gutted. I was like, no way, this can't be real. There is no way that this shit is really happening, that there's this big cover-up, that this dude was friends with all of these powerful people. And I mean, just go back and listen to the very first few episodes that Lee and I did. I was convinced that this was just some sort of nonsensical, you know, overblown case. But it was, man, when you really start digging in and you start reading the articles and you start seeing what went on, it is so far away from being a conspiracy theory that if it was any further away, it would be on Neptune. Zero chance, Jen. See, I'll stick to climbing on mountains, right? I feel the same way about climbing in very, let's say, dangerous places. Most people would be like, yeah, right, no chance. But the ocean, I cannot even, no chance. I couldn't do it. I really have no idea how those people in the old days hopped on them boats and floated across 5,000 miles of ocean. No, thank you. Yeah, you know, Robin, that's for me too. You know, it became more than just a name on a page, right? When I started to realize the effects, the wide-reaching effects that this criminal enterprise had and how many people's lives it ruined, it blew me away. Like, I can't even put it into words how agitated it made me. Obviously, I haven't missed a day here since starting October 1st of 2019. I've been here every single day. So obviously I'm agitated. And once I'm agitated, it becomes a problem for whoever agitated me because I'm pretty stubborn. Pretty damn stubborn about things. And when I don't have the answers that I want, I start to look for them. Yeah, unfortunately, Jen, that is exactly the case. The rich and the powerful have been eating the poor forever. I mean, at some point, though, we have to say enough is enough, right? And look, don't get me wrong, I'm not like, workers of the world unite. I'm not like a Trotskyist or a Leninist or anything like that. But at some point, people have to realize that these corporations don't give a hell about any of us, and they'll continue to shit on us until we tell them enough is enough. And all of their little money games that they like to play, stashing shit offshore, having slave labor in China build their stupid phones or their shoes or whatever it may be, that has to end. There has to be accountability for these people the same way there's accountability for the rest of us. As far as I know, Patty, Zorro has not been sold. But it definitely has not been rated yet either, so who the hell knows what's going on down there. It's like an episode of Black Mirror in New Mexico. Yeah, Jen and Lisa are the resident specialists on Fergie for sure, and all things in that realm. I definitely defer to them when it comes to that stuff because I don't really focus too much on that aspect of the case, right? I don't know much about Fergie. The royal family really sickens me for the most part, and I really just don't want to dig too deep. I did some digging into the Jimmy Savile thing, and it absolutely disgusted me. I mean, the level of disgust I felt after reading about that sick bastard is, I mean, through the roof level of disgust, right up there with Epstein. Wow, that's crazy, Candace. It's a small world, right? You never know where you're going to end up, who's going to end up breathing the same air as you. Yeah, when you look back in hindsight, it's like, what in the hell? It's crazy. You don't know. You really just don't know about people. Yeah, hide in plain sight is definitely their MO, Anna. They've been doing that for how long, and it served them well. They hide in these positions where they're, powerful businessmen or women, and they move among those ranks, and they are obviously engaging in this disgusting behavior. The people know the deal, but they look the other way because it benefits them in some capacity. Wow. I mean, I guess the irony escapes them, Candace. I don't know what to say. I think I must say that about 500 times a day to myself or to other people when I'm talking about this case. I don't know what to say. I mean, I wish I had some answers for some of this stuff. It's mind-boggling to me that they got away with it for so long. I believe it was 2010, Rob, when she got married. 2010, I believe. And yeah, Ghislaine Maxwell was a guest at Chelsea's wedding, no doubt. They'll say that she was a guest, the +1 for Tom Waits, but I highly doubt it. Bill Clinton's so scummy and smarmy, old boy invites his gumad to his daughter's wedding. The lady he's having an affair on his wife with to his daughter's wedding. What sort of scumbag are you? Certainly not Italian. That shit would get no play for Italian folk. After his conviction, 100%. Yes. Yes, yes, and yes. And not only that, we have the Terra Mar donations. We have the Clinton Global Foundation donations. Look, the ties with the Clintons are so deep that I can't even begin to explain how deep they run. And one of these days, one of these enterprising investigative journalists out there are going to really dig in. Yeah, in a place of privilege, Anna, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Chelsea Clinton is money hungry, folks. Everybody knows that. You want to talk about nepotism? I mean, look at the article with Doug Band. Look at the falling out with Doug Band. And Doug Band was like Bill Clinton's son. That dude would go to the umpteenth mile for Bill Clinton. And the whole falling out, a lot of it had to do with Chelsea. Because she's a spoiled, entitled, so-called member of polite society. That's right, I said it, point blank, period. I don't care who likes it or who doesn't. That's exactly what she is. Another one of these Westchester living, ivory tower standing clowns. I wouldn't doubt it, Patty. Maybe Huma Aberdeen was over there and they were all having a little roll. And at the end of the day, that's cool. I don't even care. Whatever consenting adults do in their bedroom is not my business. I don't care. I'm very liberal in that regard. You know, if you're a consenting adult and you want to be married to 3 men and 1 woman, cool. If you want to have that kind of headache in your life, who am I to tell you not to? I don't, whatever. So if Hillary was okay with it, then hey, cool, great, love it. But the fact of the matter is, oh, hell no she didn't, Patty. 0 chance she did. Just like, what's his name, Alexander DeRossi, Ghislaine Maxwell's nephew, didn't get a job at the State Department on his own either. Got that job because of the connections, right? So it's all about nepotism and who you know. Washington is very much like Las Vegas. The only way you get a good job in Las Vegas working in entertainment or hospitality is if you know people. Doesn't matter if you're skilled. Oh, hell yeah, a bunch of Democrats have went to the Bohemian Grove according to reports. Look, at the end of the day, when you get to a certain level of power, it transcends Democrat or Republican. These people don't hate each other, the neoliberals and the neocons. They're working hand in hand to continue to ruin the world. They have a goal in mind, and anyone who gets in the way of that goal, they will crush if they can. So yeah, the Bohemian Grove, there has been several instances of high-ranking Democrats, presidents, Clinton types being involved. So when you're talking about these people and getting to that level of power, they're all corrupt. It's all theater. K-Fab, Rob, like in wrestling, bro. Yeah, they all have the same agenda, exactly. And a lot of people are still caught up right now because, passions are running high. People are caught up in their tribalism. So if you tell people something they don't want to hear right now, they just tune you out. They don't want to hear it. They're going to go feed that confirmation bias. But like I've said from the Jump Street, if that's what you're looking for, then you're in the wrong place, especially during the live streams. Yeah, that shit is fascinating. Anytime you're talking about secret societies and stuff like that, it fascinates me. I'm certainly not an expert in any of that stuff. I don't know enough about it to dig deep. But there definitely are secret societies and certainly clubs I don't want anything to do with. The Bush, you could put away all of the stuff about the Bush family, the Bohemian Grove, all of the Aleister Crowley allegations, all of that. And just what they did alone with the war in Iraq is enough for them to be tried as war criminals. But yet they're running around admonishing us and talking down to the rest of the country from their ivory tower still. It's such a joke. It's such a sham. All of them should be rounded up and tried as war criminals. Dick Cheney, Wolfowitz, Armitage, all of them. All of those dudes. They wasted our money. They wasted life. They wasted political capital. How could anyone in the Middle East ever trust us again after we bumbled our way into Iraq like a bunch of friggin' ogres? Really gets me fired up. The Near East is my core of study. So I have a lot of strong opinions about what occurred in the Near East, during the aftermath of 9/11 and since. It's been an absolute joke what has happened over there. Yeah, absolutely. Party in The Hague for sure. I'm showing up with some of those streamers and poppers, and we're going to throw some snappers down, the whole thing, because, I mean, can you imagine the trillions of dollars these MFs wasted? And let's remember, it was Bush's Attorney General, Mukasey, who signed off on the Epstein deal. Everybody forgets about that. Everybody wants to talk about Acosta. Well, what about his boss? I'm all about accountability. And every time I've ever been a manager in any business or corporation, the buck stopped with me. You mean to tell me that's not the same thing at the Department of Justice? This asshole Mukasey signs off on it? And then only Acosta's the one that gets left holding the bag? We just stop there? Why? Because it's politically convenient? I'm not a fan of that kind of shit. It's garbage. I'm talking about a scorched earth policy for all of these people. Yeah, they're not as cozy as they were at the beginning of this case, though, are they, Candace? Think about where we started and where we're at now. When I first started talking about this case, I can't tell you how many people would say to me, "You really think anyone's ever going to get arrested, dude?" Well, yeah, here we are, right? I was adamant from the jump that Maxwell would get arrested. I said Brunel would get arrested. Pretty damn sure the Core 4 are getting arrested. So, Patty, I've had several requests from several different legacy media outlets to sit down and talk. People who are making documentaries. I'm just not into it. I'm not here to build my own profile or anything like that. That's not how I'm rolling. I'm here for one single reason, because I'm pissed off at the corruption by my government, where my money is being spent. So all that other shit, I don't care about any of that. I think that the most important thing is to pump out content and make sure that everybody that is following the case, who is listening to my show, is kept up to date, and that we're all on the same page. And whatever happens after that, cool. When Maxwell is convicted, then I'll start worrying about other stuff. Maybe turning this into a book at some point, an audio book or something. But as of now, I have one goal in mind: watching these people taste a little bit of justice. Because if the people I love had to go to prison for stuff way less than this, then these people have to go to prison as well. And that's my whole motivation. I wish I had some cool shit to sell you guys, some vitamins or something. I got some silver lung vitamins, and I have this tablet, but I don't have any snake oil, unfortunately, folks. Yeah, Jen, I definitely think that some of the Core 4 have rolled, and that they might get lesser sentences for their testimony. But I still believe that all of them are going to see a jail cell, the inside of a jail cell at some point. And when that happens, I don't know. But it's coming, I think. Absolutely. I don't have any time for that. I put as much time into this case as possible as it is. I don't have time to sit down for an interview with some knucklehead journalist. Zero chance for any of that stuff to happen. I got mountains to climb. Yeah, Patty, I'm glad to have found people like you, right? Like-minded people like you and Jen and Rob and Anthony. And all of you folks are just good people, man. Good people who really care. And at the end of the day, we need more of that in this world. There's not enough people who care. Everybody's caught up in their own problems, and I get it, right? Life's hard, man. It's not easy to worry about other people when you can't even put food on your own table. But I've made a point in the last year to be more empathetic, and I have been doing my best to do so. I've completely disengaged from any sort of tribalistic politics. Even when I think that somebody is being stupid, I don't even jump in and say something, because there's enough divisiveness at this point, and it is time for the populace, us, right? All of us, to stand together against the real enemy and stop being so distracted. I hear you, Jen. It's ridiculous, and then, these legacy media types, they don't even want to do their own legwork half the time. They're just looking to poach information from you. And that's not all of them, right? Don't get me wrong. There's some really good reporters out there covering this case, like Kate Bricklet over at Daily Beast. She's killing it. Chris Spargo, he's killing it. Candace, there's some loose ties. I'm sure that they ran together in those circles. That's a very elite club, right? So I'm pretty sure that they ran together in those circles, but there's no, really strong ties that they were, working together as, trafficking or anything like that. Nothing I've seen, anyway. Now, I haven't dug into the Nygaard situation anywhere near as much as I have to Epstein. So I might have missed something, but... Right, exactly. Those kind of loose ties. But again, we have to remember, we're talking about a very elite group of people. So you got to think that the people who work for them are in the same group of, rotating door of retreads working with all of these people. Yeah, that's why I don't engage with any of it, Jen. You know how I feel about that. I don't give oxygen to a fire because then it just keeps burning out of control. I don't have anything to say to any of the knuckleheads. I don't have anything to say to anybody who is out there talking nonsense. I mean, they really, honestly, these people that want to get my attention, they really don't want it. Because I'm coming at you double-barreled, right? I'm not here to make friends with you. If you're acting like a moron, you're going to be, if you get my attention, you're going to get it. Hey, Tracy, what's going on? But as far as nonsense on the internet, I just won't do it. It's not worth it. What's the point? It's just stupid. Now, I'm not saying for everybody. Other people feel differently, but for me, zero chance. Yeah, you notice all of these people who went to Epstein's Island or Nygaard's Island, they want to say, oh, I brought my wife. Well, how do we know your wife isn't a sicko too? If she's married to you, she might be a sicko. How do we know that when she went to sleep, you didn't creep off and go get your skivats on? They have all of these narratives, but very little receipt to go along with it. And they want us to believe their narratives, and I'm not. I refuse to believe anything these idiots are saying. The ones that bring their kids into this shit are the grossest, in my opinion. What sort of absolute psychotic animal do you have to be to drag your kid into a situation that has to do with human traffickers? Give your head a good shake next time you're looking in the mirror. Holy cow. It's just, it's hard for me to imagine that we live among such disgusting people. I don't know. Oh, the Dubins are the worst, Rob. They're absolutely gross. Another group of super rich people, another group of, a couple who think that they can get away with whatever they want because they have some money. Oh, 15-year-old Swedish slave? No problem. Bring her over. It's just sick. They're just sick, man. Patty, I love it. You like that the little bit of New York Italian slang, huh? Yeah, that's what happens when you grow up in my family. You should hear my dad. My dad sounds like he's straight out of the Bronx still. It's pretty funny stuff. Oh, I know. Andy's kid didn't even stick up for him. Imagine being such a scuzzball that your own child's like, nah, I'm good. I don't know, Pop. I don't think that that's really what happened. I don't think that we had pizza that night. Hey, I was at home with the girls. We were doing our nails. We had some TV shows on, ordering some food, some tea and crumpets. The servants brought down a little spread. We had some, all of it. But I don't remember hanging out with you, Dad. Sorry. Ay, ay, ay. Another way you could tell that the Windsors aren't Italian, because an Italian kid's covering for their pop. The Italian kid's like, oh yeah, we were out, we were having squingeal, we went to the ball game, and then we stopped at the butcher on the way home. so you know that the kid certainly isn't Italian. Yeah, maybe she's trying to get rid of him, Jen. Maybe she's had enough of her grifter ass pops, and she's like, look, we're getting rid of you. I'm trying to move in and get my fortune. Let me get all of these estates. Yeah, all of these girls go to marry into money, right? I know if I was a princess, I'd be marrying into money too. I'd be looking for the richest dude in the world. One of these oil sheiks or something. I'm trying to get paid and go lay on a beach for the rest of my life. Forget about it. Oh, I know, she sets the interview up and it turns into that Hindenburg-level disaster. Talk about sabotage from your daughter. Holy cow. But he deserves it. Why are you trying to bring this girl into it? Why are you trying to drag your kid into your nonsense, you absolute idiot? Everything that he gets, he deserves, man. I've never seen somebody who is such a BS artist. I have not heard any more about that, Rob. I have not heard any more about that. Yeah, you know how I feel about the sins of the father. I don't really hold them against the kids, but it's going to be hard for these kids, right? Especially if Andrew is launched. If Andrew is launched from the family, then these kids are definitely going to suffer, right? There got to be some sort of consequences. So, I mean, they had to be in line to inherit some money, some sort of, I don't know, pension or something from the queen or their father or whatever. And if he gets removed from the royal family and gets completely cut off by his brother, then the kids definitely are going to suffer, right? So if I was them, I certainly would be marrying into money. Find you a nice, rich young lad. Yeah, no, I remember, Rob, hearing about that story, but I haven't seen any movement on that. I'm not too sure where that ever went. Probably went where everything else goes when it comes to London. It went to die. Doesn't seem like the authorities in London are too keen on getting involved in this case. Oh, yeah. Yep, the Joe Exotic of the Windsor family certainly fails the body language test, no doubt about it. When it first happened, I forget which body language expert it was, but I watched it too, and I was laughing hard as hell the whole entire time. I was like, this guy literally lied about everything. And, I'm not a body language expert, but it didn't take much to tell that this dude was lying, right? And that is certainly a pitfall, Jen. We got to be careful. There are a lot of crazy people. And like I say, at this point in time especially, we have to safeguard who and what we let into our mind. I have a guard on duty at all times at the entranceway to my mind, because there is a lot of BS being pumped out there, folks. And if you're not cautious, it's very easy to get caught up in it. There's a lot of people with silver tongues, right? People spinning a whole bunch of nice webs. But at the end of the day, bullshit walks, man. And if you're running BS to your listeners and your audience, eventually you're going to be outed. And we see that right now with this QBS. All of these people who sold all this bullshit to these people, all outed. Now they're moving the goalposts, and what he really meant was, you'll never get anything like that from me. When I'm wrong, you'll hear it. Hey, look, I was wrong. I completely missed that one. But I'm very upfront. When I don't have information, I tell you folks, look, this is my opinion. I don't have direct information telling me this, but... And these other people, these Q folk, they were talking about this like it was gospel, right? Like the apostles wrote this in a book and handed it down through the generations and shit. I don't know how anyone can be that, I hate to say it, but naive to believe in something like that. Something that came from 4chan. I mean, 4chan. Alex Jones thinks you're crazy, for God's sakes. So I don't know how anyone could have invested in that stuff the way they did. It's cool to, if you're interested in it, you look at the drops or whatever, and you're like, oh, okay, this is kind of dorky, or this is something that's interesting. I'll take a look at it. But to buy into it the way some of these people did, enough to, really buy in, that's something that's going to need to be studied by sociologists and shit, in my opinion. Yeah, my motto is if I want something to be true, I am extra cautious of it. I am even more stringent of my process when I want something to be true, because I don't want to get caught up in that confirmation bias loophole. It's something that I have worked so hard to try and avoid later on in my life after I, made the mistake of being sucked into it. So whenever I want something to be true, I am even more cautious of it and more hard on the source. Yeah, it's easy to go hard on the people that we hate or people that we perceive to be evil. But it's a lot harder when your worldviews are challenged and people that you perceive to be good are unmasked as not so good. It's like they always say, be careful of meeting your heroes. And for me, I've just went through my life without having heroes besides my dad. I thought that that's the safest way to go about things. I didn't want to be let down by anybody. So I never hero worshipped ever in my life. No, even, athletes or nobody really, just my dad. So I was never set up for any kind of harsh falls. And it kind of helped me later on not put people on a pedestal, right? All of these politicians and athletes, they get up in the morning and put their pants on the same way we do. They're not special. So I look at them just as I would look at anybody else. And with the confirmation bias stuff, Jen, you're for sure. It's really dangerous. It's really easy to fall into that trap of self-confirmation and bias. So I work really hard to avoid it. Do I always avoid it? No, of course, I'm human. Like I said, I am one human being filled with faults. And, I just try to do my best every day to be as good of a human being as I possibly can. Yeah, for sure. The verify process is very important, Jen. Especially with a project like this. Because, look, there's a lot of people that are going to give you their opinion as fact in this case. And, that's some of the bigger people who are involved in it even. They're going to give you their opinion and tell you it's fact. Whereas I definitely never go that route. My opinion is just my opinion. The way I see the story, the way I read in between the lines. So, I'm just amazed sometimes when I see people tweet things in a manner of speaking where it's like, oh, this is a sure thing, this is guaranteed, that this has definitely happened. Big statements require big evidence. And when people don't follow up big statements with sources and evidence, it's very hard for me to believe that they're not, dog walking me or, trying to BS me. Because I need sources, right? I trust you, right? But I gotta verify. And that's why you'll always see, after everything we talk about, I put the source right in the description box. So you can go and read it yourself. I hope that you all are doing that. Because it's important to read these articles for yourselves, as well as just listening to them, right? Because you'll pick up tidbits throughout them. You'll pick up little pieces of gold throughout the articles. And I think it's super important that everybody reads them as well as listens. Oh, 100% people are being motivated by money. 100%. Zero doubt about it. And as far as evidence and manipulated stuff, I don't even bother. I just delete that shit now. I don't even bother with it. Yeah, Rob, I'm not for this world much longer tonight either. We're gonna wrap this up in a couple of minutes. I have a long day tomorrow, so we're not marathoning tonight. But as far as where we're at in the case right now and everything, folks, I think we're moving along at a decent clip. I think some progress is being made. Some of the key figures are getting wrapped up and caught. And I urge everybody to stay on target and not get caught up in, other little sideshows that are coming along with this. Stay focused. Core 4, Indike, Khan, those are the people that need to go down first. And then after those people go down, it's time to really hammer away at Wexner and the rest of them. But we have to be logical about this, right? We have to make sure that we stay focused on the people who are in the crosshairs right now, and then make sure that the financial investigation bleeds over into the rest of these co-conspirators. Patty, I think that the RICO Act is already in place. I think that they're just sealed indictments at this point. So when the superseded indictment comes, and when that'll be, I don't know, but when that comes, I think we'll see the RICO indictments unwrapped and slapped on them. Absolutely, I definitely will give Maria everybody's love for sure. When I talk to her tomorrow, I definitely will. She's very thankful, folks, for all the support. 100%. She's just... Twitter's a vile place. And I've told her a million times she shouldn't even bother with it. If and when these RICO charges are released, we'll set up some kind of Zoom party or something, right? All of us together, we'll get on and we'll let it rip. I'll have another drink. We'll light one. We'll do it all. We'll have a great time. We'll have a blast. We'll have a little party, and we'll rock and roll. Because I'll tell you what, folks, I'm not even kidding you. I look forward to these Sundays every single night now. All these Sundays that we have spent together have been awesome. So I am looking forward to next Sunday, the Sunday after, and all of the Sundays that come after that. All right, Kristen, thank you for popping in. Yeah, buddy, we'll do some sort of Zoom or whatever it may be, and we'll all get together for that. All right, everybody, I'm going to wrap it up, too. I'm going to head on up and console Carrie after a rough Buffalo loss. She probably needs somebody to come up there and whisper some sweet nothings in her ear at this point. So my beard and I are going to go do just exactly that. All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining me tonight. Thank you so much for your support. And obviously, if you guys want to, talk about anything, I'm here. I try to be as accessible as possible. My emails are backed up, so shoot me a message here on Facebook if you're looking to get to me right away. All right, everybody, I will be back tomorrow morning when I get home from the mountains with an update, and we'll roll from there. Thanks, everybody. See you later.
O'Reilly.
This is Derek's O'Reilly Auto Parts story.
After the third time jump-starting my car, I finally realized my battery was dying. So I stopped by O'Reilly to have it checked. They tested it right there in the parking lot. It was bad, real bad. But they helped me find the right battery for my car and even installed it for free. Now my car starts like new.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Today on Hey Culligan, hard water hurts appliances. Go for Glenn in Glenview.
Yeah, hey Culligan, my appliances aren't that old and they're already on the fritz.
Sounds like your hard water might be giving your water appliances a hard time, but there is hope in the form of a Culligan high-efficiency water softener that helps extend the life of dishwashers, washing machines, heating systems.
Okay, hey Culligan?
Yeah, Glenn?
Yeah, hook me up.
Glenn, one high-efficiency appliance-saving softener already on the way. Let us help you out with a free in-home water test with the local Culligan water expert at Culligan.com.